internet. I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this is Unpopular Culture, and we're back to talk about a couple things. Firstly, Brendan Fraser back in the news, and if you've been wondering what he's been up to, what are you doing with your life?
It's Bollywood, though.
Yeah, so...
Seriously. That's not a joke.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser is going to be in a Bollywood film.
Which, frankly, if you're not excited for that, also, what the fuck are you doing with your life? We're going to be talking about some Doctor Who Series 10 news. We have some new casting stuff, and there's a bit of information about writers next season, which I want to talk about. Jake doesn't know about it yet, though, but he will.
Sure.
And then finally, we're just going to be talking about E3, our impressions of what happened. Last week, we were doing our pre-show dealio, and this week, we're going to do our post-show dealio. So, dealio away, dealio.
Okay.
I'm doing my best, damn it.
Well, some people's best is better than others people's bests.
Yeah. Anyway, so, firstly, like we were saying, Brendan Fraser, who... I don't know why I feel the need to shit on Brendan Fraser. He's done nothing wrong to me. I enjoy several of his movies, but something about Brendan Fraser...
Bone. It was Monkey Bone.
Maybe it was...
That was the straw that broke the back.
Probably. So yeah, you haven't seen him in a while. No one has. He did that movie where the books came to life or something, Inkheart.
What?
Yeah, remember that? That was like one of his last ones.
I don't remember it.
It was like... He did
last one I remember him in was Looney Tunes?
Back in Action. Oh, he did a couple things after that. After that, he did probably other stuff too. But I remember he did Journey to the Center of the Earth 3D, which was one of those shitty gimmick movies made right after Avatar to cash in on 3D. And then he did Inkheart, and that was like the last thing he was in. Like he had just had a series of shit movies that completely destroyed his career.
I'm trying to look at The Nut Job.
Oh my God, was he in The Nut Job?
Yeah.
If you don't know what The Nut Job is. The Nut Job is a shitty... I don't even know what studio made it.
He was also in Furry Vengeance, which is weird because that's like the same film.
Yeah, it's probably by the same studio, honestly. They make shitty, bad children's animated movies.
He was in G.I. Joe, The Rise of the Cobra, but he played the part of Sergeant Stone and was uncredited. He was uncredited in G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra.
G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra was ashamed to have Brendan Fraser on its IMDb page. Pointing that out. But yeah, he did a bunch of shitty movies.
He's done some other stuff. Escape from Planet Earth?
Never heard of that.
That's probably a film. Yeah, that's on Netflix. You could watch it. He's basically, they're like, oh no, you're off screen. You are doing voice work now.
Yeah, The Nut Job was about a squirrel who's robbing a store of its nuts. Meanwhile, there's an actual bank robbery going on parallel, and it's shit. And it's in the 1950s for no reason, and they do Gangnam Style.
Oh, they do, don't they?
It's that kind of animated movie.
Right, where they're like, I don't know, what if we get that one Korean guy? Sure, let's write a movie about a squirrel and just bookend it with a Korean guy.
But anyway, I guess he is getting a second chance in India, in Bollywood. And, guys, not all Indian movies are Bollywood movies. This one is described as Bollywood, I know. So just chill the fuck out. And the article says, I quote, Fraser will play the role of Charu, an American expat gunrunner who's...
Charu!
Yeah.
Are you sure he's not from South America?
That's what if the character is supposed to be American, why did they name him Charu? Like if there was an American movie and you had an Indian character from India and his name was like, hi, I'm Chuck. No, that doesn't make sense. Anyway.
It's so close to Charo. Are you familiar with Charo?
Yeah.
She's considered an actress, but she's Spanish-American.
She was on TV in the 70s because she had big boobs and had a funny voice.
She's the Spanish version of Dolly Parton.
Yeah, pretty much. And then it goes on to say, his illicit dealings with the Indian underworld wedge him in the middle of the family implosion. I'm assuming the family are the main characters or something. And then the director goes on to talk about how Ray Liotta, who is also an actor who hasn't done anything in quite a while, was originally going to play the role, but they ended up going with Brendan Fraser because, again, I quote, the more the script evolved, the more obvious it became that Brendan was the best choice for the idiosyncratic role of Charu. Nobody in history of filmmaking has ever wrote a script and said, you know who'd be good for this? Brendan Fraser. He has no... Listen, he's been in movies that are all right, like Blast from the Past is an okay 90s comedy. Like, the Mummy movies are fun, the first two. But he doesn't have, like, charisma, really. His personality is fairly, generic. So I don't...
Right. Idiosyncratic applied to Brendan Fraser doesn't make sense to me.
It just, like, what qualities are you talking about that you think are Brendan Fraser's qualities that apply to this character?
Was in The Mummy?
Yeah, if Charu comes out and is like, hey, remember that time I was in the movie The Mummy? I'd be like, oh yeah, Brendan Fraser.
Charu, are you Brendan Fraser? And then they do a dance. I am not Brendan Fraser. I assume that's how Bollywood film works.
See, what they should do, Brendan Fraser's comeback movie should be a movie about Brendan Fraser having no career and going to India to make a movie and the mishaps that happened during the production of the
No.
movie.
We've already had this similar idea with Nicolas Cage, and it's called Waiting for Cage.
Yeah.
So
where
you and I just kind of wait around for Nicolas Cage and talk about Nicolas Cage until he shows up at the end.
Yeah, and the minute he comes on screen, cut to black. There you go. He's there.
It's This is our boyhood.
Wait, why? Because it takes place in real time.
Yeah.
I don't know. That movie didn't take place in
just
real time,
for
though.
Cage. Yeah, over the course of like 10 years or something.
Oh,
but this is our boyhood, just waiting for Cage.
Why are we waiting for Nicolas Cage for 10 years?
Because it's worth it.
Okay.
You know, it'd be funny is if we just wait. If at the end of the movie, he just walks up to us and we're like, "Hey, Nick Cage! Oh my God, we're big fans. Can we get an autograph?" And he's just, "Oh, sure." And then he just walks away.
The ending should
That's
be...
your payoff.
No, okay. It'll be called Waiting for Cage, and the movie is about waiting for Nicolas Cage. But then at the end, the door starts to open, and we look with anticipation. It's going to be Nicolas Cage, and then Brendan Fraser walks in. Cut to black. Everyone will be like, "What did it mean?" I think it means that people need to stop giving these idiots money to make movies, is what it means. But
Shyamalan.
anyway, I'll probably watch that movie for Brendan Fraser, so I guess I get why. It's going to make me watch it out of curiosity, if for nothing else. I mean, come on.
I suppose.
Brendan Fraser as Indian Bollywood villain? Come on.
Does he get an eye patch?
Oh, he better get an eye patch. If he doesn't, then that movie's going to fail.
Double eye patch means double the villain.
Brendan Fraser multiplies that also because of his excellent acting
he's
chops.
Quadruple the villain.
I'm sorry, Brendan. You didn't do anything to me.
You didn't do anything. That was the problem.
He needs this movie to pay for more plugs. If you've seen his gross head. God, again, why am I so mean to... he did nothing to me. He might be a total nice guy.
Sorry, Brendan.
Anyway, Doctor Who news. Okay, Series 10 of Doctor Who is filming shortly. It actually may have started, or it's going to start in the next week, as far as I know. And a couple things have come out. Before we get to the actual casting news, I wanted to talk to Jake a little bit about the news about who's writing episodes this season.
Excited.
Firstly,
yes,
Mark Gatiss, who... I love on Sherlock. I love on Sherlock, and he did An Adventure in Space and Time, which was also awesome. But holy shit, last year his Booger Monster episode was one of the worst episodes of Doctor Who I think I've ever seen. So I'm not excited for that, especially because after that episode he was talking about writing a sequel. Yeah, it was the Eye Booger one. Yeah, that was him.
Oh, yeah. Mark Gatiss.
Yeah. And remember in the Forests of the Night?
Oh God,
no. The bad one with the fairies or whatever, which could have been a good idea, but it was
a lady.
I think it was, or maybe it was directed by a woman. I don't remember. But anyway, that writer's coming back again this season, and those are the only confirmed writers as far as I know. Actually, no,
good.
There is some good news. Jamie Matheson, who's one of our favorite writers as of recent years, because he did a lot of good episodes. He did Mummy on the Orient Express, and he did at least one last year, I think. I don't remember which one, but I remember liking it. So he's coming back again, and I'm excited for that. I think this is Moffat's last year as head of Doctor Who, as the showrunner. I think he is aware people think his story arcs are shit, so what he is doing is making individual stories shit by hiring shitty writers to come back, so then we'll say, hey, the arc wasn't that bad, at least it wasn't Eye Booger Monsters Part 2. You know?
Well, he did. I mean, that was successfully done with Fat during the Tennant years.
No,
Adipose.
that's the thing, though.
Oh wait, was that Smith? No, that was
that was Tennant. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You can do silly ideas in Doctor Who. It's just how it's executed, and that episode was executed very poorly. In fairness,
the Eye Booger Monster episode should have been a comedy.
In fairness, it was supposed to be 2 parts, I guess, but then it ended up getting cut down to 1, which didn't help, but the whole idea didn't do it for me anyway. But on the casting news side, I don't remember if we talked about this, but there is a companion. I believe her name's Pearl Mackey, and she's playing Bill, short for Billy. There was a short video that they did. Jake and I both saw it, where it's kind of
looks like a quirky foil.
And
I don't think. Luckily, I don't think she's gonna be a focus of the story for a while. I think because she doesn't. Granted, this is me not knowing a lot about her specifically, but she doesn't have this sort of. It just kind of seems like that's someone he picked up.
Yeah. I hope she doesn't have some sort of impossible girl. Amy Pond got the universe dumping into her head, can sense time thingies, gonna absorb the time vortex. I hope she's just a companion. Just be a companion. It's cool. And I was excited because the clothing she's wearing makes it kind of look like she could be from a different time period, like the 80s or something. But nope. 2016, 2017.
She's just a hipster.
Just a hipster.
Well, I think that it's good that she's probably not going to be a story thing, because if Moffat is leaving, usually it's a courtesy to kind of wrap up your story, so that someone else can kind of jump in. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna get craziness. Although the River Song thing started way back when.
True.
So
I don't know. I really hope this is your last season, Moffat. Just make it okay, because last season had plenty of good episodes, plenty of shit episodes.
I really liked the River Song episode.
Yeah, that was really good. The Christmas special, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know, Moffat. Just don't fuck this last season up. Just go out on a high note, please. And Chris, I'm gonna have to learn how to pronounce his last name. Chris Chinbull or something like that. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. He did Broadchurch. He's coming on to do the season after this of Doctor Who. He's going to be the new showrunner. Interestingly, the rumor is instead of doing individual people writing scripts for Doctor Who like Moffat had done, he's going to do a writer's room. So it's going to be a bunch of people writing, which honestly...
That sounds so much better. Also, I really like the Broadchurch series.
I think Doctor Who, one of the problems with the bad episodes is that someone needed to tell a writer no. That was one of Moffat's problems, is someone needed to tell Moffat no. So I'm hoping with a writer's room format, you get more back and forth, and that can foster creativity and snuff out shit. You know what I mean? Because you need people to tell you no in writing. And that's one of Doctor Who's problems. So I'm hoping that'll tighten up the writing a little bit, make it a little more concise when you have a bunch of people keeping track of continuity and making sure, like, hey, is this stupid? I don't know.
Is this stupid? Well, what's the idea? Well, you're this, the shit in your eyeballs when you wake up? Monsters.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yes, that's stupid. That's very stupid.
Go back to Sherlock Gaddis.
Wait, hold on. Is this going to be a serious caper, or are we going to take a lighter note? It's going to be like a ha funny quirk episode. Oh no, this is a serious, it's a big deal. That's double stupid now.
It's a found footage episode also, so it's supposed to scare you like Paranormal Activity, but instead of demons, it's boogers.
Wait, I'm sorry, it's a found footage episode?
Oh yeah, also found footage, totally, and it's going to end on a cliffhanger that would have been good in a different episode, but here it's not going to be.
Wait. Are they time traveling back to 2006 to make the found footage like fresh?
No, way in the future. Oh. It's way in the future, and this is going to be in 2015 when everyone is already sick of found footage movies. And not only that, we're going to do it cameras on the people's heads, so it's also kind of a VR first person thing. And then also at the end, we're going to do a fourth wall break, kind of, where it implies that the audience is now infected with the eye boogers.
Oh, good. Couldn't it have just been literally any other monster as long as it gets inside your head?
No, has to be boogers. If you don't watch Doctor Who, none of that made sense. But be aware these are all ideas that went into a real episode of a television show, and no one said no. Anyway, the other casting news, Matthew Lucas, who played Nurgle in the Christmas special, which we liked, he's coming back. If you don't know who Matthew Lucas is, he is one of the guys behind Little Britain and several other comedy shows in Britain. I like him. It's hit or miss. Some people really like him and some people don't. I get if you don't like him, but I happen to think he's funny and I like that show. But but he's returning as Nurgle, apparently. I didn't know if it was going to be him or if it was just because, how England is. They have 12 actors that they just got to keep swapping back and forth. And he is quoted as saying, I'm chuffed to bits. You got to imagine this in a silly British accent. I'm chuffed to bits that Nerdle is returning to the TARDIS for some more adventures. I loved acting with Peter, and I'm excited to work with Pearl. I hate when there's casting for anything, and they get a little snippet of them being like, I loved working with everyone. Yeah, we know. It doesn't. What you just said doesn't mean anything. You might as well just not have it. I think he's going to be like, I'm not excited to come back. Fuck that Capaldi guy. Anyway.
Yeah, and also I think he has alopecia.
Does he have alopecia?
Well, he doesn't grow. Isn't alopecia? He doesn't grow hair on his body.
Doesn't he?
Yep. Nope. It's alopecia.
Ah.
Your immune system mistakes hair follicles for foreign bodies. So yeah, he doesn't have eyebrows or hair and whatever. It's fine. He's gay.
You know what's funny about that? It actually works out really well for him because a lot of his shows deal in like putting on different outfits and wigs and.
Well, now I mean I'm sure that he worked that in.
I know. I'm just saying it kind of works out for him. Yeah.
I don't think he went into it thinking, I'm just gonna go as is. I feel like he was it forced his hand a bit.
Maybe, but I'm just saying he could just wear like a normal wig or something. I'm just saying, but it works out because he has to change outfits a lot of the show. So
yeah.
Anyway,
but he was good. He was really good. He did a good job, and he's pretty popular in the UK. Also, he was in Les Mis, so there's that.
Yeah,
he looks like a eunuch. Imagine a eunuch, a hairless eunuch.
Pretty much. And then Moffat said, quote, delighted and slightly amazed to be welcoming Matt Lucas back onto the TARDIS, and this time it's not just for Christmas, he's sticking around. One of the greatest comedy talents on the planet, One of the greatest comedy talents on planet Earth is being unleashed on all of time and space. See, that quote makes it sound like it's not just the first episode that he's going to be in. It makes it sound like he's a series regular. Maybe not a companion, but maybe kind of like how Danny was on the show regularly, but wasn't traveling around with them. Maybe he'll show up or something.
I wouldn't hate if him and Bill were like a tandem thing.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
That makes them both more interesting, especially if she's like a weird hipster and he's just super out there, and maybe he can make fun of hipsters.
That'd be fine.
In general, because he's so unaware of how that's supposed to work. Yeah,
I'm always wanting at least two people on the TARDIS other than the Doctor, because when you get stuff where it's singular, you end up with a Rose or a Clara where it gets too singularly focused on her. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you'll get a Donna, but that's not the standard. You know what I mean? Generally, if you get the one in the New Who, it winds up being all about her.
And by the way, if Clara shows up in any episode, even in flashback form, we're gonna throw the UK into the sea.
It's already in the sea. It's kind of an island.
We're gonna throw it in the sea, not on top of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
into it.
I don't even want to hear the words Clara. The word.
How do you want him to be upset about Clara?
He shouldn't be. He had his memory erased.
Right. I don't want anything occurring that has to do with Clara.
Nope. Don't do it.
Unless it's nudes.
Actually, I think she was topless in a movie once, if you care to see it.
I don't really care.
All right, well, it's
a joke.
For our audience.
I'm a man.
If anyone wants to see Clara topless, I'm pretty sure she was topless in a movie once, so just Google that.
Topless in a movie. I don't remember her or the actress's name. That's how I've purged her existence from my life.
Jenna Coleman is her name.
Jesus Christ.
I have nothing against her. She's a fine actress. It was just how it's written.
She did fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, I'd see something.
Actually, in this last season, she was better than usual.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess now I'm excited for Series 10, by the way. I am. Even though I shit on all the things just now, I am excited for it. But anyway,
definitely.
E3, aftermath of E3. What did you think of E3 as a whole, firstly?
Underwhelming.
Really?
Incredibly underwhelming. Well, here's the thing. I don't like most games. Like, I don't play, like, C's.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They just bore me. I don't have a lot of time nowadays to play. So it's usually, like, something that looks awesome. And the only thing that really genuinely looked like I would go buy day one and not wait for, like, a Steam sale or something is probably Mass Effect. And that's only because of my faith in BioWare. And because I like space dramas, and they had a really, really cool universe.
Oh, that surprises me. After the trailer that came out, and that was all they showed at E3. I was disappointed.
I don't need to blow my wad. I can be excited for a thing. And they also had stuff outside of the trailer where they talked about it. We're like, yeah, this is biggest universe. You're setting up a situation where you're reestablishing, a colony, and it's well removed from all that. The ship is totally new, and it seems like it has a lot of really cool management like aspects to it that would make a deep space game like that cool. I'm hoping you kind of get a return to the RPG. So we'll see what happens with the actual gameplay, but I would like some more RPG. It could stay the same way as far as the battles are concerned, although I'd really like the classes to be, if not eliminated, mixed a little bit. Like I wouldn't hate like just putting points towards different skills and doesn't have a class name. It's just kind of what you play as. That'd be fine with me.
I guess. I'm excited for the game in theory. I just would have liked to see some gameplay. I don't need to see a ton, but a little bit of a mission to see kind of how the shooting works, if it's more akin to Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3 or what they're doing. But I think it looks good. Also, the name of the character that you play, obviously...
It doesn't come out till March next year.
I know, but still, this is like the same amount of gameplay they showed us like 2 years ago when they announced it, though. It's just like, hey, look at this planet. Look at this.
I don't want to. If it's not ready to be shown, I don't want to see it.
If it's not ready to be shown by now, when it's out in less than a year, then they are fucked. Just saying.
They probably just want to. Usually, what happens with that sort of thing is you'll see alpha footage when they're in beta or near complete.
I know. I saw leaked footage a couple months ago. I know for a fact.
But the thing you're saying right now is we didn't see any Fallout footage till right before its release.
Yeah, that was what they were trying to do, though. That was intentional. That was an intentional marketing scheme. They started showing us stuff 2 years ago. So don't do that then. If this had been the first trailer and the first I'd heard about this, fine. But it's not. We've been waiting for 2 years, and you're still showing us the same stuff.
I guess.
Also, as you're not playing as Shepard, obviously, because it's so time and distance not the same. The character's last name is Ryder, apparently, because if you zoom in on the dog tags in the trailer that they showed, I guess it says Ryder, which is, all right. It's a little tidbit of information if you wanted to know that. I guess it's named after was it the first woman in space or something?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Actually, no, it couldn't be because that would have been a Russian. Although maybe it
looked like we got some gameplay stuff though. It just had a stripped HUD.
No, I know. So, it's
I don't know. But by the way, the armors look really cool.
Yeah.
So and it's still N7, which is interesting, but which is also fine. I think you want some brand recognition to run through to keep continuity. But I feel like 100 years, or I keep saying 100. I don't know how far it is actually.
100 sounds about right, because the ships are bigger, but they're not like it still looks like mostly the same technology. So I'd say probably 100's about right.
Right, but
and they'll probably have a little scroll at the beginning, like after the threat of the Reapers, the Galactic Society came together to try and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it seems that like you're talking about at least a century, but still, I'm excited for it because of the world building they do, which is why I like the Fallout games, even though obviously Fallout 4 didn't have the RPG elements we wanted, but the world itself is cool, and if you can do that to Mass Effect and get just half a cup of RPG shit mixed in there. I really hate the limits they put on you, because once you pick what Shepard you're going to be, that's what you're going to be in the original trilogy. If you're a Sentinel, you're a Sentinel, and you can only use 2 guns, and you can use the powers, and it's the same fight every time. I want a mixture of all the things.
In 3,
you could pick and specialize.
In 3, you had this is a choice I liked in 3. You can do any guns you want, but it affects your stamina. You can carry all the guns no matter what class you are, but you won't be as proficient in all of them, and also it lowers your stamina if you're carrying all the guns, or you can just carry a pistol.
But I also want the ability to choose different powers to work on, because that's I feel like just open it up, give us all the options, and kind of do like a skill tree situation. I
feel weird because I think I'm like the only one in all the Mass Effect games so far. I never had a full run through as anything other than like a soldier, because I didn't like the psionic powers, like
they get really cool if you actually do it. But the Sentinel is usually what people go with because it just had the most balanced.
Is that the middling one where you're like half soldier, half psychic?
Yeah, you could kill shit all the time and you got cool powers that actually helped you. But the full psionic, you only get like a pistol, I think.
Something like
That's
that.
not something I want.
In the
I want
first
to. I
one,
want to
yeah.
be able to. I want to have an assault rifle or a shotgun or any of these things. Sometimes you need a sniper rifle,
Yeah.
but also be able to use these cool powers. So I'm hoping they strip away the classes and just kind of let you multi-class. Other people can be classes. That's fine. But let you, because you're the central character, let you multi-class in everything.
Okay.
And kind of just specialize. You'll have a set amount of points. So you could be just a psionics user or just a tech user or just a soldier. But you have the ability to kind of
Mix and
branch
match.
out.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, next thing I want to talk about, Legend of Zelda, which we talked about Nintendo a little bit last week, I think, and how I'm not excited for their new system. And I'm still not. I'm not going to buy it unless it gets amazing reviews. But I commend Nintendo for trying something differently, because it's sort of going back to the drawing board on Legend of Zelda. They did a 7-hour gameplay through this, which was, I didn't watch the whole thing because I'm not going to sit there and watch it for 7 hours, but I did skim through it and watch little 20-minute segments.
That's so much gameplay.
I know. And the world map is huge. It's more like the original Legend of Zelda in that there's not a linear story, at least not one that they're talking about. They've said it's very open. You get out into the overworld and you go and do whatever you want. Certainly there's cues. Like, I saw a conversation where he walked up to an old man under this like thing. It's kind of a cave, but not totally. It's just like he's under a thing with a campfire eating food. It's very reminiscent of the original Legend of Zelda, where you go into that cave and the old man's like, "It's dangerous to go alone. Take this." And you can talk to him, and you can actually have conversations, which is weird as Link. It's weird because you don't hear him talk, but it's kind of like older Bethesda games. Older, just any other than Fallout 4, where you select your text. And he responds, and he's like, "Oh, like that castle over there." So they'll give you hints, but nothing's forcing you to do that. You can go anywhere. The physics is pretty cool. There's dynamic fires, and you can like start a brush fire accidentally or on purpose if you want.
I noticed they had an equip thing, like with actual armor and which is different. But I noticed it was a funny thing. He kicks open treasure chests.
Yeah.
He kicked it open without shoes on, and his reaction was, "Ouch."
I know, I saw that too.
That's kind of cool.
They thought it through. The overworld looks beautiful. Obviously, Nintendo's never had powerful... I shouldn't say never. Recently, they haven't had powerful systems. But this still looks good. They chose a good art style. It's a little bit reminiscent of Wind Waker and the last one they did. I forget what it's called, but it's the one where it was like above the clouds, whatever the fuck it was. Skyward Sword.
Sure.
Looks good. There is equipment, and your equipment actually degrades over time, so you can't use like the same sword. I assume once you get the Master Sword, this changes, because you're not going to break the Master Sword. But most of the swords in the game, or other weapons, because there's other weapons, they break over time, and you got to forge new ones. And you can get resources, you can cook, you can cut down any tree and use it as a bridge, you can climb stuff. It's very interesting. And there's actually like menus and stuff. I applaud Nintendo for not dumbing this down, where so many RPGs are making things more simple. They've actually taken a linear Legend of Zelda series, and now they're trying to make it more RPG adventure-y, which I think is cool. So I hope the Nintendo system that comes out, because this is going to be jointly between Wii U and their new system, if the new system gets good reviews, I hope it does, because I'd love to play this Legend of Zelda at some point. Looks cool. Or I'll wait 10 years and then emulate it. I don't care. But still, it looks like a lot of fun. And it's
God, though, like... Just stop making consoles and let us play all your games. We'll play all your games.
I would.
We'll
Totally.
Every single Nintendo, like, the original IP sort of stuff that they keep doing. Most of those are pretty cool because they're platformers, but they're genuinely good.
Yeah.
Which we don't get a lot of anymore because Nintendo is kind of off on this island of its own called Japan. And that's where everyone plays it. And it's like, man, I would buy this for PlayStation or PC. If it was allowed, but it's not gonna be.
Nope.
And it's just one of those things where Nintendo, we talk about it sometimes, but man, if this fails, just please give up. Give up on consoles.
I hope they do, honestly. And that sounds mean, but no, man, I don't want to buy another system.
It sounds mean. It's obviously bad business.
Yeah, they're trying to recapture. It's funny because I saw a quote during E3 too. I don't remember if it was. I don't remember if it was a press person or if it was someone from Nintendo, but no matter who it was, they're an idiot. They said, "We hope that the Nintendo, whatever the fuck they're calling it, I forget what the
NX.
the Nintendo NX will recapture the audience of the Wii, the original Wii. No, it will not. They're playing tablet games and Facebook games now. They do not care. Or the original Wii. You know how many old people still have the Wii and do Wii bowling?
And that's the thing. You don't want the Wii users. What you want are the people that played Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 and GameCube, I guess.
Yep.
Although I consider the other two far, far better. Like, if you could get Super Nintendo players who are all in their 30s and 40s now, and I guess some 20s, but that's usually a second-hand thing at that point. Man, you got everybody. We all make money now. We are the generation that played you. You just let us have that again, and we will pay you.
I know.
We will pay you the money.
I don't think we talked about this in the show, but we had an idea for like ideal next Nintendo console if they were going to do it. Call it something along the lines of the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then add something at the end, like call it the Ultra Nintendo Entertainment System to kind of harken back.
I just call it Nintendo Entertainment System, and then you could just rebrand it. You could still call it the NES.
Okay, sure.
It doesn't even have to be anything else.
And what you need to do is, I don't know how this is a fucking monstrous task, and I understand that. Or, no, I guess you could do this through emulation of at least a lot of the older ones. You could do through emulation relatively easily. ROMs already exist, I guess.
Let us buy Super Nintendo games for $1.
Yeah, have every NES game, Super Nintendo game, Nintendo 64 game available digitally to download onto this system. You automatically capture a ton of nostalgia marketing, and then, of course, you still have new games that you come out with in the style of Nintendo. But I don't know. I think Nintendo has such the potential. I know they do the virtual console now, but I'm saying expand it to their entire first-party back catalog, and they would nail it.
Their controllers aren't what people want to use on console anymore. Like, the Wii was intuitive. For all its gimmickiness, the first Wii was intuitive. The Wii U is a giant pad with thumbsticks.
Yeah.
And so is this NX, by the way. It has the same exact thing because they're trying to do a portable and home entertainment thing.
In fairness, that's a rumor that was not confirmed yet.
Fair enough.
So if that's wrong,
all the information I'm seeing is that. Hopefully that's wrong. Hopefully it's very wrong. But these smaller, the Xbox and the PlayStation controllers are what people like.
Yeah, and
that's it. Just fits the hand well. You could even make make it look like an old Super Nintendo one, but just have the stuff where you can rest your palms on it, and it would sell like crazy. It would immediately sell because you could have current gen graphics and all of your old titles. Like, people would buy Super Mario World. Every single person that owned that would have Super Mario World again.
Yep.
Can you imagine just $1 sales? That's 80. Assume 50 to 80 million people buy it just in the U.S. because people would, because it's a nostalgia bomb.
Yeah.
You would have those sales just on one game and one console.
And it's not even like...
How did they not do this yet? It's so obvious what Nintendo is. I feel like it's because they're all over in Japan, and it gets... Like, the people there around are like, oh, no, I love this.
Yeah.
But that's not what the U.S. market wants, which is bigger.
I think it's also because a lot of the same people are running Nintendo that have been running it for decades. They need some... And it's not in, as far as... I'm not going to pretend to be a fucking expert on Japan office culture, but...
Japan office culture.
It seems like hiring new, more fresh-faced, new idea people isn't in their thing. I mean, certainly they have young people working for them, but you know what I mean?
Clearly not. They all go for this, I don't know. Instead of capitalizing on nostalgia, they're just not progressing.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between doing the same thing over and over and then capturing the nostalgia that we all felt. You're not doing that. Give us all... Even allow GameCube games.
I like GameCube.
We would rebuy all of those games that we loved. I would have immediately a collection of like 50 games.
Yep. And it would be low cost for them too, because all you need to do is figure out a way to emulate it, and then you have a whole catalog of games for people to buy that are already made.
Exactly. PlayStation does it.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like they think they know what they're doing. I don't know if they do. The good news is that Legend of Zelda, which gives me some hope, because it seems like it's going for a more general gamer market. It's not trying to hit,
cash.
Yeah. And you don't have to use the Wii gamepad. You can use their Pro controller, which just looks like an Xbox controller, basically.
Right.
That gives me hope that maybe they're going to try and go for something a little more akin to a traditional controller. I hope.
I want it to ship with that kind of controller, though.
Yeah, it needs to. It has to. Dude, if they do another stupid gimmick, people are going to be so over. The minute they reveal a shitty shitty peripheral. Every person who actually gives a shit, because people who played the Wii are not watching E3. They're not keeping track of what's coming out. They don't care. People who actually do gaming as a hobby and
Right.
they're keeping up with the industry and what's coming out, they're going to see the shitty peripheral and immediately roll their eyes and go, guess I'm not getting a Nintendo console again this generation. Unless they'd have to do like it'd have to be the most intuitive, best peripheral ever. But you know what's pretty fucking intuitive? A controller. So I don't know what to tell you guys.
I guess we could just talk about, since we just did Nintendo, we can talk about Microsoft as a whole, and then you can talk about any games within that if you'd like. But I think the big news would be the new Xbox, Xbox S or something like that?
It's Xbox.
I don't know what
is
it's
it
called,
Neo?
I don't know.
It's like there's two different ones. There's the smaller, slim Xbox, which normally, in the middle of every game generation, they come out with the slimmer version of the original console. And then there also immediately came out and basically said, and here's why you're not going to buy that one. It's the
because they're getting the newest Xbox has they're trying to go for true 4K graphics and like 60 frames per second. Basically, it's a high-end gaming PC sort of deal.
I'd say
except
high-end console PC, pretty decent, okay computer. You know what I mean?
Right. Because like both Hugo and I have rigs that play games. Like I play Witcher on Ultra at about 45 frames per second, which is not 60, which is actually lower than I wanted, but it's fine because I can't really detect that with my eyeball very well, so it's okay. But I'm not buying that.
No.
I'm not buying the Xbox. Like, why would you do that?
It's a weird... Because here's the thing. If it costs the same as the original Xbox One, I would understand. But the rumor is it's good because it's high-end and because it's running better hardware, it's going to run anywhere from $500 to $700. At that price, the person who gives a shit about 4K gaming is going to build a PC or buy a PC. You know what I mean?
No, they're getting the stupid consumers for sure. The Call of Duty and the... but those bros are going to buy this game because they're going to be like, bro, I don't know how to do a computer. It's very easy to make your own computer, by the way. It's like big Legos for adults with fewer pieces.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's in the middle. Console gamers, for one thing, if this is going to be the standard, after the PlayStation 4, I don't know if I'm getting another console. I might just stick to PC because I am not going to handle every 2 or 3 years a mid-console thing. And they're claiming, part of their presentation was like, it's the end to generations of consoles. We're just going to update every 2 years now, like cell phones. Like, no.
Then we're not doing
that. I'm not doing it. Like,
right. I like a console because I can get all Microsoft games on PC, right?
Yep, they said all Xbox One games are now going to be available for Windows 10.
Exactly. And I have a PlayStation 4 for the games that I can't get on PC or that I would prefer. Like I like sports games. I feel like that's not intuitive on a PC sitting at my desk and using a controller. Sure. But stuff like Grand Theft Auto and stuff I can get on PC still. Like it's not a big deal. I buy a console for the other shit that it comes with, like the Netflix and the, it's just an all-in-one entertainment thing I can do. Yeah. And then some games are exclusive to it. The Xbox has nothing that I want that the PlayStation doesn't. It's because if I want super great graphics and I buy a game specifically because it looks beautiful like that, I'm buying it for PC. I'm not buying it for a $700 Xbox.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. And PlayStation's supposed to be... The PlayStation's doing the same thing now. Actually, maybe PlayStation's new one is going to be the Neo. I forget, but you get the idea. The only thing that it makes me interested is that it's also an Ultra 4K Blu-ray player, which are super expensive now. So it's kind of like what they did with the PlayStation 3 being a Blu-ray player. It's the cheapest... It's probably going to be the cheapest Ultra 4K Blu-ray player you can get. Probably. And in that case, maybe I'll think about it, but...
Right. Well, I'm not buying a separate DVD player. Those days are long gone.
Yeah. So
pretty much PlayStation 2 killed those for me.
Terrible idea. And I think what they're doing now, this is them backtracking. I don't really think they even think this is the end of console generations. They're now looking back and going, fuck. 2 or 3 years ago, whenever the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 came out, they put out underpowered systems that weren't that much of an upgrade from the last ones. And now VR is starting to get... so they're like, fuck, now we need consoles that can do VR, but our current ones...
What you need to do consoles, okay, if you want a console and you want to sell it, you sell different levels, kind of like different graphics processors, and allow them to be modified.
But see, there's the thing though too. It's gonna be difficult for developers to accommodate all these different systems now too. And they've said it's like PC settings where it's just high, low, medium, ultra high, whatever. I don't know if that's going to be the case. And if they do decide to end, quote, console generations and just do updates every couple of years, in the same way that the console market often holds back graphics and the abilities of PCs, even though many PCs can do things better if you have a medium to high-end PC.
Right.
Older consoles, if you never... Eventually, I assume they would be like, okay, this is the date we're going to stop making games for this. You don't have to make it compatible.
PlayStation 3 just got another game, by the way.
Was it a soccer game?
Yeah, something like that.
It's always soccer. But it's going to hold back everything, even more than consoles already do, which, don't get me wrong, I like my console. But let's be real here. You know that consoles are underpowered compared to what they were at the beginning of the last generation relative to the PC market at the same time. So what are they going to do? I don't know. If I were them, the smarter thing I think would have been just say, okay, we'll fucking eat this one. We'll take it. 2 years from now, we'll do the next generation, have a full 4 or 5 year cycle. And then that time go all in with their consoles. But here they're trying to backtrack and say, hey, that thing we sold you on 2 years ago that was so awesome? Well, it's a piece of shit now. Buy our new one, motherfucker. It's just, I don't know. It seems bad. I haven't seen a single person so far that looked at it and totally was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Even people I've seen who like it go, yeah, this is kind of a... They should have either waited or just not fucked up the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. This was a bad idea. Sony's press conference, which was actually my favorite. Bethesda. We didn't talk about Bethesda at all. All I'm going to say is nothing interesting came out of Bethesda.
New Skyrim, sort of. Oh, it's just a prettier Skyrim that you could already have. You have PC mods.
My Skyrim's already.
Oh, modded, also, if you have Legendary Edition, you're automatically bumped up.
Yeah.
But with it. Yeah. So, and I have that, so I don't even need to worry about it.
They also
cool though, good for them because they know Skyrim is very heavily used.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Sony's was my favorite press conference mostly because they pretty much just showed games. There wasn't cringy talking over a lot of stuff. You know how E3 is with the corporate people trying to tap into youth culture, but they don't understand it. Yeah. But theirs wasn't too bad actually. It was just mostly people introducing the games and then they showed the games. A couple notable ones. The new God of War game. I never played them, but I know very popular.
I played the original God of War games, and they were hack and slashes and puzzle solvers. I hate hack and slashes, and I hate puzzle solving games that aren't, very good. It had a cool storyline. This one is kind of over the shoulder a little bit. Not slower is the wrong word, because when you see fights, it's just as fast, but it seems just better.
Yeah.
And the graphics are awesome, and it looks like it has really cool powers involved. He's got this axe that he can throw and make it to ice and shit. It's cool. It looks like it has a really, really rich, it seems semi-open world, but still, it looks cool, and the graphics are legit really, really great. There's also Kojima's new game called Death Stranding, which is basically just a naked Norman Reedus on an oil... ridden beach simulator, I think.
With a baby? That was...
Well, he only has the baby for a second, and then it gets invisible and crawls away invisibly with oil handprints. Basically, it's Kojima being super cryptic and artsy like usual, but it's got Norman Reedus. It's probably going to be a survival horror game, and maybe it'll be really good.
I'll check
Norman
it out
Reedus
for
is
sure.
cool, and it looks nice.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
Yeah.
There's dead whales and flying people.
Yeah, I'll probably check that out if nothing else for the weirdness of it. I respect the dude doing his artistic vision, and even Sony said, hey, we're just going to kind of let him do his thing, which, respect, that's awesome. There's also Resident Evil, there's a new one. It kind of reminds me of actually PT a little bit, which is exciting because PT was really good. Again, that was Kojima, but then obviously Konami
Didn't work out.
Was a fucking piece of shit about that whole thing. But anyway... that looks kind of interesting, though I don't have that much to say. Just looks like a cool VR type deal. Spider-Man. This one I'm excited for. New Spider-Man game, which we haven't gotten in a while. At least not a good one, I should say. The last good one was probably Spider-Man 2. Some people like Spider-Man 3. Fuck you. Spider-Man, the new one, is not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's certainly taking certain inspirations from it. It's an older Spider-Man, slightly. I say older, I mean he's probably in his mid to late 20s, early 30s.
Right.
He's more experienced. The suit people have had a problem with because it's kind of weird, but it's grown on me. I actually like the giant white spider on it. It's kind of neat.
The white is a new inclusion that I don't think has happened unless it was like the black version of Spider-Man, which has, a white symbol just by the nature of being against a black suit.
Yeah.
The Venom Spider-Man. But it looks fucking cool.
Yeah, it's made by the same people who did Ratchet and Clank, actually, and the swinging looks solid. They showed very little, but it was gameplay. You could tell. Solid swing. The city looks beautiful, which is funny because looking back at Spider-Man 2, in my head, that's how it looks, but I know if I went back now, I'd be like, oh my god, this is visual garbage. The combat looks fun.
It actually looks like Spider-Man 2. You know how Rocksteady kind of got the essence of how Batman fights in those games?
Sure.
It seems like they really nailed how acrobatic and fast and kind of uses the web and uses his quickness to his advantage. While he is super strong, he's also very, I don't know, he's bouncing around all the place. It looked really cool and it felt like Spider-Man. Like before in those, Spider-Man 2 or whatever, which were good games, it was kind of like once you got into a fight, you could jump around and stuff and it was like just kind of swing your fists at him and shoot web. This one looks like, no, you're Spider-Man. You're not just a guy in a Spider-Man suit beating them up.
Yeah.
It felt cool to form. And I like the suit. I like that it's a good way to make sure that you stand apart. And I mean, Rocksteady did the same thing with the Batman stuff, but I think people forgave it more because Batman has had so many suits over the years and Spider-Man's had like 4.
Yeah, Spider-Man's had quite a few. Even the more
but 4 really popular ones.
Okay, you're right. He has not as many iconic ones, but I get what you're saying.
I couldn't tell you which Batman suit is the correct one either, just because he uses so many of them.
Yeah.
So I think that it lends itself to it.
Let's see what else. Watch Dogs 2. They did a brief gameplay of Watch Dogs 2. It looks fun, but Watch Dogs 1 also looked fun before I played it, so I don't know. But it looks like maybe they fixed some of the problems of the first one. The driving still looks like shit, though, so we'll see what happens with that. I'll, at the very least, probably rent it. I don't know if I'll buy it unless it gets amazing reviews.
Ubisoft has lost me.
Totally.
I'm not buying it. I'm not. Oh, yeah, I'm not. I can't remember the last time I bought one of their games, but, I mean, if I play some, it's usually on PC. Uplay's garbage.
Yes, it is.
So, I'm not doing that. I'm pretty much the only thing left is EA, right? And that was just sports and shooters.
Sports games. That's what people at E3 want to hear about, right? Let's play a soccer game for 30 minutes. I'm EA.
Dude, the soccer thing was so cringy. Did you watch that soccer press conference,
No.
the FIFA thing?
No, I did not.
Holy shit. Okay, so they're doing this new basically career mode where you play as this one dude, and they have the actor that played the dude in the game come out and have this like really, really cringy monologue about like, you gotta play to win, and like, can you believe that we're here and like, this is a dream? Like, fucking it's a video game, man. Calm down. That works when you're in a scene in a game. It doesn't work when you're on stage talking about a game you did scenes in.
That's
and it's
funny.
a soccer game.
Yeah.
It was super cringy. I'm not excited. I like FIFA just fine. I'll probably buy last year's though because it's cheaper. You don't really need the updates so much. People that do that just kind of do it because they like the online leaderboard shit, which I don't care about. So.
The only other thing I had to say was The Last Guardian still looks good and it's coming out this year. Finally, I think has it had like what was the development cycle on this? It's been years. It's one of those games that kept getting pushed back, but it's by the same people who did Shadow of the Colossus. Still looks amazing. Looks like one of those artsy Japanese games that probably going to be really good. So I'm definitely checking that out. I don't know if I'll buy it because I don't know the length of the game, but I'll definitely rent it to play through at least once because it looks like one of those games that's going to be... People will talk about it probably for a while, how it made you feel, man. But
some games make you do that. Yeah. We talked about Shadow of the Colossus last time, though, so go watch that one if you want our opinions.
Yeah. So overall, E3, there were some good reveals. There was like Spider-Man, God of War, great. Yeah, Legend of Zelda looked fun, but it wasn't like the best. There was nothing that really pissed me off this year, though. The closest that came was the bad ideas for the consoles, the mid generation consoles. Bad idea.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some of it was cringy. I mean, there's Quake coming out that I don't care about.
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. QuakeCon should have more information about a lot of stuff, though, which is weird.
Still no Half-Life 3. Surprise.
Yeah, no one's surprised.
No, that's never coming out. Sad. Why would you end the series on a cliffhanger, Gabe? Why you do this? Anyway, so I think that's it. If there's anything you want us to talk about next week, tell us in the comments. Tell us what you thought about E3. What games are you excited for? What games do you think look like they're gonna suck? What do you think of the mid-generation consoles? And do you find our voices attractive enough to maybe get to second base?
I'll take a over the pants 1.5.
So, you can always follow us on Twitter at @TheRealUnpop, which nobody has used in years, but if you want to have a spooky Scooby-Doo roller coaster amusement park, follow that, because it's abandoned and probably haunted by Old Man Jenkins.
Yeah, you could also subscribe to the channel and get more of these things that we do.
If you want to support the show, you can always do so over at Patreon. If you don't want to, though, a pox upon your houses. Until next time, I'm Hugo. This has been Unpopular Culture, and I don't know, man. I just want to be Spider-Man. Oh, also, Dead Rising 4. That happened at the end.